Welcome, everyone. We are happy to see that a wide range of participants have decided to join this session today. Thank you for tuning in and spending the next 20 minutes together with us talking about sustainability and impact within the financial sector. Today, we will be sharing the main findings from our report, Deciphering the Nordic Impact Map, which has been written in collaboration with Copenhagen FinTech and with research assistance from the Nordic FinTech Alliances, consisting of FinTech organizations across all the Nordic countries. If you have any questions during the session, please write them in the chat function and we will get back to them at the end of this session. So, before we dive into the actual content, we would just like to do a quick introduction of ourselves. My name is Sebastian. I'm a management consultant at Implement Consulting Group. I work in the financial services department, and my big passion is sustainable finance and ESG, and that is one of the reasons why I am standing here today.
And my name is Mia. I am also a consultant with Implement in the energy and climate team. I work across the sustainability parameters, so both climate, energy, and social, and all the different frameworks that can be used to, for instance, reporting. I'm very passionate about real sustainability for businesses. And the reason for looking into sustainability and the financial sector is, first of all, that the Nordic governments made a pledge in 2019 to make the region the most sustainable and integrated in the world. And this has been followed by a number of domestic commitments to climate action plans. And then secondly, the financial sector plays a central role in society and thus also in the green transition. And here fintechs can play a vital role because of their ability to push and change the sector. And that's also why we are asking the questions, will sustainability be the lever for the next fintech success in the Nordics?
And to answer that question, we decided to explore sustainability as a general trend for the sector. We did that firstly by looking into the established sector, talking to banks, pension funds, and asset management. And we did that in order to get an understanding about how they implement sustainability today and how they work with it in the core business areas. Secondly, we looked into the fintech scene and the themes and categories of sustainability that they work with today, trying to disclose the maturity of the fintech scene. And as mentioned before, this was done in collaboration with the fintech organizations from the different Nordic countries. So the fintech cluster from Iceland, the factory and finance innovation from Norway, fintech from Sweden, the fintech farm from Finland, and then of course Copenhagen FinTech from Denmark. So if we look at the first part of the equation, so the first circle, the established financial sector, we interviewed 12 stakeholders across all the Nordic countries, consisting of banks, pension funds, asset management, and not least industry associations in all of the countries. And we interviewed these financial participants in order to get an understanding about how they actually work with sustainability today. So the way that we did this was by asking 3 questions. Question number 1, why is sustainability a business driver? Question number 2, how do you integrate and operationalize sustainability? And question number 3, which challenges arise working with this, and could fintechs or fintech partnerships be a vehicle for a solution? So the findings from diving into the established financial sector were 4 drivers that together shape 5 focus areas for financial institutions today. So the 4 drivers are consumer behavior, or maybe rather changed consumer behavior coming from an increase in demand of sustainable products. Then regulatory requirements at a national but also a European level. Then a digital transformation, which has been on the agenda for a long time, but pushed even further by COVID-19. And then not least risks, which could be physical and transition risks. So these 4 drivers shape 5 focus areas within the financial sector. The first focus area being strategic integration. So this is all about a fundamental change in the expectations to sustainable integration in financial institutions, anchoring it at a top level, but following up with bottom-up execution. Focus area number 2 is financing. So not only looking at the investment side, but also credit and lending, which is especially relevant for banks because it's the area where many of them can actually make the most impact. Then focus area number 3 is standards and methodology. So improving measurements and target setting and being able to navigate in a society or in an environment with several different frameworks. Then focus area number 4 is data quality and analysis. So the continuous challenge with data, where to get it, but also how to apply it and continuously have updated data. And then not least training and skills as the final focus area, which is about combining the sustainable understanding with core financial services competencies and skills. So being able to bridge this world and having professionals that actually can navigate in this complex environment. Altogether, this points to horizontal and vertical integration across organizations, moving from before trying to define why look into sustainability, now to actually looking into how do you do that and how does it correlate with your core business areas. Yeah.
Yes. So with the knowledge of those 5 focus areas of the established sector, how does the fintech scene look like? Where do they put their emphasis and their focus? And as Sebastian mentioned to begin with, the report contains a mapping of the Nordic fintech scene, and this is the first comprehensive mapping ever done of the sector in the Nordics. And it shows that 183 fintechs in the Nordic region is working with sustainability. That is the so-called impact fintechs. And it shows that the fintech scene is focused on 5 major categories of impact. And these are financial inclusion, financing impact, ESG data, energy and climate, and anti-corruption and crime prevention. And if we take those in turns, that means that the sector is looking at helping underbanked groups to get access to different financial services. With financial impact, it means making it possible to invest in or finance impact activities. For ESG data, it means using data to analyze ESG impact for different companies. And energy and climate is about products that are data-driven with an emphasis on reducing CO2 or waste and carbon offsetting. And then last, anti-corruption and crime prevention is about developing solutions to fight digital crime, anti-money laundering, and anti-terror financing. And then if we dive even deeper into this map, the 183 fintechs has been mapped with a fairly equal distribution across the different countries, with Iceland being the lowest. This is likely due to the lower population in Iceland than in the other countries. But if in terms of covering the 5 areas, we can see that 55 companies, which is about 30%, are found in the financial inclusion category, where all the 5 countries have a substantial number of companies. Then we have 42 companies which are found in the anti-corruption and crime prevention category, where most of the companies are found in Denmark, Finland, and Sweden. And 35 companies are in the energy and climate category, with almost 50% of these companies being located in Finland. 32 companies are found in the financing impact category, with most of these companies being in Norway and Denmark. And then lastly, we have 19 companies, which is about 10%, that are found in the ESG data category, where we have an even distribution across the different countries. And this mapping is the first step to have a defined sustainability ecosystem in the Nordics. And though the mapping can be developed even further, And the current picture is a self-assessment picture. It's done with the data collection through the Nordic FinTech Alliance, as Sebastian mentioned previously. This does give an important overview, and it will be very interesting to follow the market and follow the mapping as it is continuously updated and investigated even more into depth.
So before we move to the closing remarks, we would like to look a little bit more specifically into the Sustainable Development Goals and which of them are found to be the most popular, you could say, for fintechs to work towards. So on the left side, we have listed top 3 Sustainable Development Goals that fintechs are working towards in the Nordics. So the most popular being goal number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, with 43% of the impact fintechs working towards it. On a second place, goal number 16, peace, justice and institutions, strong institutions, with 33% of the impact fintechs working towards it. And goal number 17, partnerships for the goal, has also 33% of the impact fintechs working towards it. So these are the top 3 SDGs that impact fintechs are working towards across the Nordics today. If we then look into some of the other relevant topics for the financial sector that we know of, could for example be gender equality, then goal number 5, gender equality, has 12% of the impact fintechs working towards it. Another important topic, goal number 7, affordable and clean energy, has 7% of the impact fintechs working towards it. And goal number 13, climate action, has 21% of the fintech impact working towards it. And it's just important to mention that the reason that these percentages doesn't add up to 100 is because that the impact fintechs can work with more than one sustainable development goal. Yeah.
Yes. So when we then link the fintech with the established sector, we can get an understanding of how the two correlate in their sustainability pursuit and focus areas within the sustainability space. And we can see that the established sector and the fintechs, they broadly correlate. They are looking at the same things. If we are to be a little bit more specific though, we can see that there is a fairly strong correlation across all the fintech themes with the strategic focus from the established sector. And that is also because the established sector is working with the strategic focus very broadly. It includes the broadest understanding of sustainability, that being both climate, environment, and also the social aspects. Another strong correlation is between the established sector's focus and need for structure and data, and the fintech's offerings within ESG data and energy and climate. And here it's important to mention that the established sector is very much focused on climate data to develop new products, to do their reporting, and also for general risk management. Lastly, an area that's on the agenda of the established sector but correlates less with the fintechs, it does still correlate, but less than the 2 others, is the focus on training and this continued anchoring of the developments within the sustainability area throughout the organization, so that we get this vertical integration of sustainability into the organization that was mentioned previously.
So to sum up, during the development of this report, talking to the established financial sector, bank, pension funds, asset management, industry associations, and talking to fintechs, 3 pragmatic dynamics for fintechs that seek to drive impact became evident. So the first being to get real, saving the world can be too ambiguous. It's not so much about contributing to the most goals at once or knowing the most sustainable development goals by heart. It's rather about understanding materiality and in what direction the financial sector is heading. So that could, for example, be to have an understanding of the fact that a lot of regulation is coming over the sector, especially from a European level. The second dynamic is to operate transparently. Transparency is not just a matter about presenting things, it's also about making it understandable. So fintechs that can provide solutions that provide transparency, traceability, and allows for backtracking of data will have a certain edge when working with financial institutions. And then the final pragmatic dynamic is to be material. This is all about problem solving. Again, not so much about talking just about sustainability, but rather talking about what sustainable or ESG solution that you're going to solve, which of course should be related to the material issues for financial institutions, which could be climate solutions or, for example, combating financial crime.
Yes, and then before we sign off, everything that we talked about here is, of course, the findings in our report, Deciphering the Nordic Impact Map, which will be released tomorrow, the 16th of September. And here you can find both all the background to why we are making these conclusions, but also there is a number of cases, both from the established sector and also from the fintech scene, that is underpinning what we're talking about here today. And if you didn't already put your questions into the chat, do that now. We will hang out for a little bit more to answer your questions. And then if we won't get back to you in the chat now, hopefully we can follow up afterwards. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.